over 276,000 tech workers lost their jobs in 2024 and 2025.
Entry-level software engineering hiring dropped 73%.
Thousands of applicants are competing for a single role.
During the Industrial Revolution, factories took over work that craftsmen used to do by hand. Some tried to fight against the new machines. Others learned how to operate them. We're facing that same choice today, but this time it's AI instead of factories. I'm Tom from Mentor Cruise. Today, I'm sharing what's really happening, which jobs are disappearing, which ones are growing, and what you can do about it. How tech work is changing. Back in the 1800s, hand loom weavers were some of the best paid workers in England. Then, the power loom showed up, which basically automated cloth manufacturing by allowing a single operator to manage multiple machines. Within 20 years, their wages had collapsed. Not because they got worse at weaving, but because the new machines made cloth so cheap that the old way of doing it just wasn't worth it anymore. A similar thing is happening to the tech industry in 2026, at least for specific types of work. Tasks like writing boilerplate code, running test scripts, or producing documentation are getting way cheaper to produce. And when work gets cheaper, companies hire fewer people to do it. According to research from Stack Overflow, companies hired 25% fewer entry-level tech workers in 2024 compared to the year before. To pressure test this, I asked a few experienced mentors what they're seeing inside hiring loops right now. First up is Kasia Dutch. She's a Mentor Cruise mentor.
I first noticed that software engineering as a role and the tech industry as a whole had changed when I started to see lots of higher quality engineers of all levels really struggle to get a role in the industry because of the rise in AI. If I had 30 days to make myself very valuable in the tech market, I would do two things. The first would be to find a skill that I feel really interested in and really passionate about, but that is also very sought after in the industry, like a specific language such as Java or a specific framework like React. And I would become an expert in this field. I would learn all of the really advanced concepts, the latest updates to these languages, and I would create a portfolio project that demonstrates my knowledge in this area and my ability to implement these things. That way, when it comes to interviews, I have something to show off. And the second thing would be to find a mentor who has trodden this path before, who's a few steps ahead of me and can guide me through the process, find out any nuances and intricacies that I might not be aware about, and help me to sidestep those obstacles.
One of our mentors on Mentor Cruise, Milad, was working with a mentee who'd been interning at Google during a wave of layoffs and was stressed out about whether he'd get a return offer. Together, they built a plan around the things he could actually control: his project, his relationships with the team, and how he showed up day to day. A few months later, that mentee messaged Milad to say he'd come back to Google full time. So yeah, work is definitely changing. That doesn't mean the door is closed. The question is, who keeps their job and who doesn't? Let's bring in Carl Schmidt. Here's what he sees in hiring right now.
As someone who hires tech talent, the skills and roles that I'm hiring less for in the last few years have been general purpose engineers. I think it's because many companies already have a bunch of engineers and they want to keep them employed and have them do different things. So when they do go to hire, it's usually to fill a gap or to get someone who's very specialized in something, very like an expert, to handle something like more quickly or in a way that nobody they already have can do. So I think that's one way that folks can cut through the noise, is to specialize. Even on for a junior role that I was hiring for recently, looking for the particular technology that we were using definitely helped narrow down the candidates from thousands to tens or even less. So I think at all seniority levels, specialization or expertise in a particular area is a way to stand out, because right now there are way more applicants than there are open roles. That's the opposite of 3 years ago, but that's the reality right now, and specializing is helpful for those hiring, and it's a one way to stand out for those who are looking for a role.
Mostly because AI tools can now handle a big chunk of what those roles used to do. I work with a lot of people across different roles in the tech industry, and I'm seeing a similar thing where tasks are being handled without the need to bring on a full-time hire or contractor to do them. Non-technical founders are using Claude Code to build apps or even whole platforms. What? Web development and copywriting for articles or creative are increasingly handed off to AI. Basically, if there's a straightforward task that you might have given to a junior in the past, there's a good chance an AI tool can do it too. Two paths you can take in the next 12 months. There are basically two ways you can play the next 12 months. Path A is what most people default to. Take on more work, you learn another tool, and you say yes to whatever lands on your desk.
Stop it. Get some help.
Now, this does feel good in the moment because it keeps you feeling busy and productive, but it's reactive. Someone else is deciding what you work on, and if they decide AI can do what you do, you basically got nothing to point to that's actually yours. Path B looks different. You pick one thing and own it. Take full responsibility for one platform, process, or system. If you can point to a specific number that improved because of what you did, that's powerful. The difference sounds subtle, but it's massive. Path A gives you a longer CV. Path B gives you a story. Here's something you can do right now. Open a doc and try and write one sentence. I own X, and because of my work, Y improved by Z. If you can fill that in, you're on Path B. If you find yourself staring at a blank page, that's not a failure, it's just useful information. You found the gap. I asked Fatima Taj what the first sign was that the market changed and what she'd do in 30 days to stand out. Her message? The bar is higher and there's less room for error. Use AI to move faster on implementation, but keep the judgment. And double down on soft skills, especially communication and writing, what successful engineers are doing differently. So, while some roles are shrinking, others are growing fast. According to an analysis of 180 million job postings by Bloomberg, machine learning engineer roles grew 40% between 2024 and 2025. So the work isn't disappearing, it's just moving somewhere else. This has happened before. When ATMs first arrived, everyone thought bank tellers were toast. But actually, the opposite happened. Banks opened more branches because they became cheaper and more efficient to run. The tellers who kept their jobs just shifted into different work. They spent less time counting cash and more time talking to customers, solving problems, and building relationships. All the stuff that a machine couldn't do. I was talking to someone I mentor recently. She's a marketing leader at a small company. Her company had set up an internal AI team that was actively looking for projects to work on. Even though they'd offered to sit down with her and build solutions around her pain points, she'd been sitting on it for weeks because she felt like she needed to understand AI properly before she could even ask for anything. The thing is, knowing how tools work is useful, but it's not the skill. The main skill is knowing what you need and being able to delegate it, whether to people or to AI. That's a leadership quality, and is ultimately way more valuable than knowing how to use any specific tool. Engineers who are maintaining high salaries right now are doing something similar. They're not just writing code, they're owning entire systems, talking to stakeholders, figuring out what should get built and why. Quick expert take here from Ivan Yanakomi. He's led product and engineering teams at Google, AWS, and Amazon. His point, the bar moved. AI fluency is essential now. AI won't replace you, but someone who uses AI well. Technical skills still matters, but there's greater value in being able to demonstrate leadership and make strategic decisions. Here's a quick way to check where you stand. Look at the work you've done over the last 3 months and label each project one of two ways. 1, I did what someone told me to do, or 2, I helped decide what we should do. Be honest about the ratio, because it's basically a measure of how replaceable you are right now. Okay, so what should you actually do about all this starting today? Option 1, keep doing what you've been doing and hope your company doesn't decide your role isn't worth it. Option 2, choose one system to own, define the number you improve, and get someone in your corner who's already navigated this change. That second option is what Mentor Cruise is for. Go to Mentor Cruise and find a mentor who's already in the role you want 12 months from now. Most of them offer a free first conversation. If you're unsure how to choose the right mentor, check out this video.